I want you to let me know if you've ever heard this before. Back in my day, Sonny, we used to. Everybody's heard it. I know I've heard it. I know, unfortunately, I have to admit to you guys, I've done it. I probably do it once a week. I'm talking to a young athlete. I'm trying to help them. And I can't help but go back to how it was in my day. We do it. You guys are going to do it as you get older. So what we thought we would do today in our first, technically our second AGB Go Live session, we're going to kick it off with a quick educational series, a quick rundown of the history of youth sports and how we started to where we are today. All right. So my name is Rick Williams. I am the founder and the CEO of this wonderful, wonderful program, AGB Coaching. I'm joined by my partner, JB. He's going to join us in here in a little bit. But what I wanted to do is just start off with a brief history of the history of youth sports. How did we get where we are today? Now, it's not fair for me to even consider talking from a position of, anything before my time, right? So I'm going to start in a beautiful era they call the 1980s, okay? This is when youth sports was really starting to pick up at the local level, right? So playing park district basketball, playing right in your neighborhood, having 50, 60 kids go out for a team and having only 10 of them make the team, right? And this is the park district team. This is the team that represents your town. It was so important and it was so vital. And there was cuts. There was go to the gym door, see if you made the team. And if you didn't make the team, then it was, hey, change your clothes after school, go outside and learn to compete there. But that under the whistle moment really kind of took place under the guise of the local park districts. And then your middle school teams and your high school teams. These were important areas of youth sports at that time. And so it's important to think about starting there because as we know, today we've gotten away from some of that a little bit. The park district level is something that people see as just the beginning. And I'm looking forward to having a conversation with my good friend Jill on our podcast here pretty soon. She's a head of a park district and she's going to bring that perspective, but it's really considered the entry level of sports today. And it used to be like you were that guy when you made the team at your local level. So then we move on to the 90s, right? And in the 90s, even though AAU is older than the 90s, mainstream momentum for the 90s is when things really picked up for AAU. This idea that there's an amateur athletic union that the best of the best can play in, right? And so you make your park district team and you're really good on your park district team. And then, but you are so good that you can play on a team that goes around and competes all around the state. And you could become an AAU national player. And these were the players that got the Division I looks. These were the players that everyone in the neighborhood envied and looked up to. You made an AAU team. Now, a lot of those teams were sponsored. A lot of those teams were covered by different leaders in the neighborhood, right? So you had this sort of boom going on in the 90s when AAU really started to kick off. Now, let's move on to the 2000s, okay? Now, you get to the 2000s. And all of a sudden, people start to realize that anybody can start an AAU club. Now, I'm not picking on any particular sport, and I'm not picking on any particular club. It just happened. It's just industry. It happens in lots of other industries. One of the things I was doing in the early 2000s is I was working for an online university, right? And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember, but there was a boom for online education in the early 2000s. I mean, I'm talking about boom, Phoenix, DeVry, American Intercontinental, Colorado Tech. I mean, everyone was starting online education. And so there was lots of big business there. Well, at the same time, sports was happening. The same thing was happening in sports. Everybody was saying, well, I can start a club. I can start a club. I can start a club. And I can get people to join my club. And so we started to get to an era where it wasn't about getting cut anymore. And it wasn't about necessarily making the top team in your state or in your local neighborhood. It was just about there was enough clubs out there that it allowed us to have a spot for everybody. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. More people involved in youth sports is a good thing because there's so much that we've learned from playing sports. So the 2000s was the birth of this big boom, but we're going to get to how that has affected everything here in a second. Now you move on to the 2010s, okay? And 2010s is when social media started to kick in, right? So imagine that you got this big business of people playing lots of sports, but yet it's still kind of old school in that people have to come to you to see you play. People have to find you and seek you out to see how good you are. And so the process of getting recruited and the process of achieving your goals was still relatively challenging in the 2010s. But you started to see a lot more specialization. You started to see a lot more focus on safety, and you started to see a lot more focus on social media. So now I don't just play. I don't just make a team. I now have to get my Instagram right. I got to get my Twitter right. I have to start putting on display. This idea of exposure became massively important. So it wasn't enough just to make the team anymore. Now you had to make the team and get as much exposure as you possibly could. And social media made that very easy. Now, where does that lead us now? Okay, it's now the 2020s. We're full, 4 decades away from where this youth sports boom kind of kicked off. And now what I love about where we are is that the hard skills, the ability to play a particular game, right? I'll stick with the game I love the most. The ability to dribble, shoot, take it to the basket, defend, navigate pick and roll. These are skills that are being taught at every level in so many different ways. Everyone has access to these hard skills, these ability to play. What we have instead is, because everyone has access to it, now there's such an important emphasis on the soft skills. So, okay, he can dribble and he can dribble. And she has social media and she has social media. And they have a chance to play nationally and they have a chance to play nationally. That's no longer the exclusiveness of youth sports like it was in the 80s. Only the best of the best played nationally in the 80s. In the 90s, only the best of the best played nationally. Now everyone has a chance to travel and play, and everyone has a chance to get a trainer and get access to really good hard skills. But what I'm learning by serving as an athletic director at the university level today is that a lot of people are still coming to the world of college athletics without the soft skills to be good leaders, to be good teammates, to understand how to be coached hard or coached soft or coached by different levels. So we are in an area where there is so much emphasis, or there should be so much emphasis, on a holistic approach. The generation that's playing now is doing such an amazing job of pushing the coaches that are coaching them. This generation that is playing youth sports today is saying to the coaches who played youth sports yesterday, I demand that you see me holistically. Don't see me as just an athlete. Don't see me as just someone to put on the line and do sprints. Don't see me as just a number in your big business. I need you to see me as a person. I need you to care about my mental health. I need you to care about how I'm doing academically and socially. And I think that's an amazing thing. And so AGB coaching is born out of that. I'm super excited to be a part of that. I've tried to do that in every place that I've gone, as a coach, as a leader, as an administrator. And so we're bringing that here. So that's a perfect segue to bring in my man, JB. We are nice and live. So thank you for all you guys. JB, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great. What an intro. Appreciate you kicking things off. Appreciate those joining us live here. Second time going live, and it feels good. And what we wanted to start off with is Rick kind of queued it up. Why AGB and why now? Right? Why did we come together? Why did JB quit his job? Why are we going all in on this? And the answer is we believe in it so wholeheartedly, and the environment is perfect for it. So coming off of that digital age and the holistic approach, that's exactly what AGB is. Every sports team out there now, we have the dedicated trainers, we have like the nutrition support or access to it, stretching, different types of off-season training. That stuff is very much baked into our ecosystem. But now it's kind of that third-party objective view on the mindset. And so getting a mentality partner with your school, club, sports, that's what we're after. And so Rick and I have been extremely busy building out our first digital product, AGB Mentality, right? And that is our 5 module course where we take you through this roadmap from caring about something to having confidence in it. And Rick, how does it feel to have that live, man? We put a lot of hours into it. Anyone out there trying to build a digital course, what you're reading is right. It takes longer than you think.
Yeah, I think what's so cool about this, JB, is that we're in the business of helping other people get better, right? So we,
Right.
how much we passionately care about helping other people, but in the process of doing that, we have to have the same skill set that we're trying to teach, right? And so it allows us to get better as human beings, as professionals, as business owners, as people. We're trying to like, okay, so we've got this idea, we believe in it wholeheartedly, we've got goals, and then there's days where we just feel like overwhelmed, like this is too hard, this is too difficult, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I have the support to do this. So we're teaching people how to take a holistic approach to their own goals, and in so doing, what do we have to do? Like we have to do the same thing. So we've had such great conversations, you and I, about the work-life balance. I'm still running the university. I'm pouring my heart into that. And you made a very a very challenging decision, a difficult decision to go into this full time. I know we're live, JB, but how do you
Yeah.
feel about talking about that? It's just like what it means to say, because we talk about that in the course, right? Like
Yeah.
there's an extreme approach and then there's a balance approach. I'm staying on the balance approach. You went the more extreme approach. How's that feel?
To me, it comes with a add weight to your want scenario. We've been talking about that in the course, but it was like, all right, JB, the goals, ambitions, and places you want to be at. Realistically, to do that, you can't do two things at once. And Parallax was an awesome experience, learned so much, but there's only so many hours in a day, right? And so I just had to have that realization, look inside, is like, okay, what do I care about the most? Where do I want to put my 24 hours in each day? And then also like shout out Alex Ramosi, like huge transition of just like such a year, multi-year lens to look through life, right? And so it was like, okay, where we want to take AGB, get into every school and program around the country, and traveling around. That's only going to happen with a lot of weight to that want. And so being able to do this full time, and that's going to kind of lead us into what we're doing. Because of that, we kind of transitioned. This was originally trying to partner with the athletes, the parents, coaches, one on one, and we're still doing that, and that's what the course is designed for. But in a cool way, now we have this opportunity. We're doing like a pilot program with schools, and today was actually exciting day. Smash that hype horn, celebrate the small wins. We'll be in Minnesota next week, right? We're working with a high school that wants our program to be a part of their captain. And so the idea is like, we want to partner with you, your team, your clubs, and then we're a resource, once we're away and as you're going through it. Because as Rick was saying, you get into that mid-season, or as you're getting into the application of caring and reaching, or the goal to confidence, that's when it's great to have an environment, resources, places to go check in, parents, coaches, and athletes, a community where it's not just your friends. It's great subjective views on these talking points. So yeah, so very excited about that pilot program. And if you're listening out there or you're curious what that is, like I know I've gotten questions too. Kind of want to address the mentalities like, well, you don't live in Minnesota anymore. Or you're not in Arizona with us, or you're not always by us. So how does that work? And it is virtual, and that's the designate or the design behind it. And the cool thing is it's not just a digital product where you buy it and then it's gone. The whole thing behind this is Rick and I will be going live with that membership community every Sunday night, engaging in that. And so Sunday, September 24th at 7:30 will be that first live with our course, attendees. And so we're really excited about that. It's going to be a cool hybrid approach to this digital product world. And we decided to do it that for this first one because um, try out some new features within the platform we're using, but ultimately to deliver, like trying to go crazy high deliver value and below expectations. So that's the whole idea. You're not just buying it and we're piecing out. We're there, and I'm excited about that format.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has ever come to see me in my office, if I've ever had a chance to coach someone, work with someone one-on-one, whether I'm training you, whether I'm meeting you for lunch or coffee and we're talking, you know, I am intent on making sure that you walk away from that conversation, know that you were cared for, and that there was something that you learned, and there was something that we got out of it. And I also am big on the two-way street of that, right? That's our relationship, right? It's mentor mentee, but it's a two-way street, where I learn from you and your youthful exuberance, and you learn from me in my old age and gray hair, all that. And so what we've got to do, our challenge, JB, is, and we're going to take on this challenge head on, is we have to bring that connection to the screen, right? So we don't want to get into this trap of not exchanging our time for money. I don't necessarily buy into that wholeheartedly. I understand there's limited time. I have a family. I get all that. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know how you make transformative change in people's life without investing in them. So these Sunday nights, we're going to invest in the people that we're working with. And we're going to talk to them. We're going to see what's going on in their athletic careers, what's going on in their academic careers, what's going on with their family, and see what we can do to help them go from care to confidence. And I'm super excited about that. So shout out to everybody who's engaged with us so far. I'm getting such great feedback from people who have engaged with our YouTube content and have checked out the podcast. We're going to go over a couple of those clips here in a little bit. We went live about 10 days ago, and so people came into that and spread some love and was a part of that. And so we appreciate everyone who's showing any intrigue at all. What's this AGB coaching thing about? What's Rick and JB up to? The simple answer is we're here to help. We're here to help. I see it every day. And when I go to my professional job, I see opportunities for teaching and helping young people navigate the world of sports. And then I think about my time as a high school athletic director and a high school dean, high school coach, travel coach. And I'm like, I know these skills are needed. I know people are looking for ways to understand how to engage with their coaches, how to engage with their own self-talk, how to engage with their work-life balance, their academic athletic balance. And I get ramped up thinking about you and I bringing our combined skill set to those people. So all right. So you already kind of told them about next week. All right. So we are excited. We're usually going to do more of a balloon drop or something, but we have our first school client, guys, and we've only been live for 10 days. And I think that's just an amazing, amazing testament to the fact that schools are out there and they recognize that we've got a special thing where we're trying to combine this important world of holistic approach, social emotional learning, understanding the whole athlete, and some good old fashioned accountability. Some good old fashioned, let's keep working hard to achieve the goals that we say we want. We think we put together pretty well.
And that kind of is a perfect segue into this first clip. And so we're going to jump into a few clips. If you haven't yet, go check out our YouTube at AGB Coaching. We'll be pulling in a few clips, but this first one's going to come from an interview with Rob Cruz and talking about getting the most out of it. So now, Rick, you're back in doing this holistic development as a profession. And the question you queued up for him was, how do you find the best out of it? Can you get the best out of everyone? So let's listen in and see what Mr. Coach Rob Cruz had to say about that.
Because you do it for a living, and what you presented to me on the screen is that you find that in every kid. So am I only seeing the best of the best? Or what do you do when you meet a kid who comes to you and says, hey, I got the same check. Here's a check. I want you to work with me. But they don't have it. What do you do?
So I think most people have it somewhere down on the inside of them. And it's like this, and it's like this. Yeah, I have two glasses of 2 cups of coffee, right? 1 cup of coffee has sugar on the bottom of it. The other cup of coffee has no sugar on the bottom of it. When you taste both of them, it's like they have no sugar. When you stir one, it's sweet. You stir the other one, it ain't gonna get sweet no matter how much you stir.
Where your hype button
most of my kids.
All right. I love that. 2 cups of coffee, Coach Rick. One's got sugar in the bottom, one's not. If you go to sip out of both of those, you're not gonna taste it. But you start stirring, something happens. Is that coaching in a nutshell?
Man, that was so good. First of all, let me just say something. We've done about 20 conversations over the summer that we're going to put out slowly but surely. So you guys go follow our YouTube and you can see these podcast videos as we go. Complete free content for parents, coaches, and athletes. We're going to put it out all fall long. This was one of my favorite. This guy was just an awesome interview. If you haven't seen it, I don't even care if you're not a baseball person. Doesn't matter. Okay. If you don't like baseball, you don't need help with hitting. Doesn't matter. Go listen to this conversation so you can hear the high EQ that this man has when it comes to getting the best out of people. I really enjoyed the conversation. So this point now with that said, so I love him. I think he was great. And I didn't do it because in a podcast, I'm not really interested in necessarily combating the guest. But like, I don't know if I 100% agree with it. I think everybody has the sugar at the bottom. What I would say is I love his analogy of the fact that sometimes it's bitter no matter how you taste it. So like two 13-year-olds are working with you and both of them seem to be unmotivated or both seem to be, not maximizing their talent, not optimizing who they are. Okay, I get it. And then I, as a coach, I've got this sort of like care approach where I really instill confidence in people, and that would be me stirring up. And for one athlete, that might work. They might really gravitate to my approach, and that's great. Another athlete might prefer someone to have a different approach to stir it up. But I will never subscribe to the idea that there's not greatness in all of us. And that's very spiritual for me. That's a biblical concept. Like, we're all made in God's image. Like he designed each one of us uniquely capable of doing something great.
Yep.
Something that helps contribute to the continuation of progress and the continuation of positivity. We all have that in us. And I think great coaching stirs that up in some of us. And I loved his point, but I don't think there's anyone who doesn't have the sugar at the bottom. It's just some of our coaching tactics don't get it out of a particular player. What do you think?
I was going to go with that route. I think it's more about just human connection than it is coaching. And I know John Gordon is a huge subscriber on this of like the modern day coaching, like 2020s and beyond, it's more about that. You're more of like, I don't want to say counselor, but you really are and you are, whether you're in basketball, whatever sport the medium is, chess club, whatever, that's the medium you're using to develop that relationship. But it's how are you preparing them for whatever's next? Because you get this time to interact with them, help them grow as this opportunity as a coach. Same thing goes with business leaders, right? Managers. Anytime you're in charge of people, I think we as a society we're taking a step up. We're demanding more of everyone around us. And I love that. And I think it's the only way we can all do that, though, is if we're real and genuine and fit into those fields of things that we care about versus, going through the motions of things, because that's a huge way to derail. So love that. I do think we all have the sugar in us, same biblical reasons. You're here for a reason. If you're watching this, I firmly believe that. If you ever want to talk about it, let's talk about it. But
so hold on, because I know you want to queue up another one, but I want to stay there for a second because I think it's important to encourage coaches as well, right? This is about parents, coaches, and athletes. So parents too. I think that we have to have an understanding that sometimes it's okay to say, I'm not getting the best out of this person. So I've had, as an AD, I'll have coaches come to me and say, look, I've tried with this particular athlete, and, to Rob Cruz's point, they're just bitter. They're just bitter at the top, and I can't get to them. And there's a saying in business now that says fire fast, right? And I think some of that does apply to coaching. I think sometimes it's okay to say, okay, I've tried everything I could possibly do to get the best out of this athlete. Now you have to be honest with yourself, because like some people lie to themselves too much, and they'll say, oh, I gave it my best, and you tried one time. You tried one style and you said my way or the highway, and it didn't work, and then you're like, I'm going to cut the player. But if you've truly tried to connect with a player and it isn't working, I think it's okay to fire fast or to say go, because then you give that player an opportunity to go get stirred up by someone else. Now, if you're an athlete and you've played for 15 different coaches with 15 different styles, and you keep coming away with the idea that no coach has stirred up your greatness, um, you should probably you got to be honest with yourself as well, right?
Mhm.
But that's what I love about this. It is such a relationship thing. It's there is no perfect science for it. We've all got to feel it out, and I think we all need help to do it, and that's why we're here.
Absolutely. All right. Needing help with it. So right now we're focusing on the youth sports development journey.
Yeah.
But as we all talk about, the game of sports ends, even if we're professionals one day, right? And so our other conversation, number 2 out there with Kawika Mitchell, we'll switch out to that one now. But you queued him up with kind of that question. 8 years in the NFL. Now what? How was that transition like? Let's check out what Kawika said.
Once pro football's behind you.
Wow. When we started this conversation, you asked me about one of the things was about football being your life or football being something that you do. I think that's when it really comes into play is understanding that it has to only be a part of your life. Because if you retire, which when I retired, football was kind of my identity at the time, and it really was who I was. So when I lost football, I lost a piece of myself, and the transition was really tough. I think naturally, I think it's gonna be hard. I think regardless of how you place football in your life, if it's just a part of your life or if it's your identity, I think regardless it's gonna be challenging. You lose a whole social aspect of it, you lose the whole routine of it, you lose all, for 23 years somebody did my life for me. They had my season planned out, my off season planned out, they had my schedule planned out. So it's a big adjustment. You got to kind of relearn those things if you haven't already learned them. And then again, it's important to have good people around you. I think at all times you want to lean on that support, and you don't want to do it alone. And I think that transition, as far as on the mental side of things, it's important to try to prepare for that and try to make sure you have the right support around you.
All right. Having the right support around you as you transition in and out of sports.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So in case if you guys don't know who this is Kawika Mitchell. Kawika Mitchell played 8 years in the NFL, and he won a Super Bowl with the Giants. Everyone knows the David Tyree catch against the helmet. If you don't know, go Google that. It was insane. The undefeated Patriots, Tom Brady, Randy Moss. I mean, they were Mike Tyson. The Giants were essentially Buster Douglas. They weren't supposed to win that game. He's the starting inside linebacker, and they win a Super Bowl championship. So he's been at the mountaintop of his particular sport, both as far as making it to be a professional and then winning the most prized position in sports, you could argue. And I just love the fact that years removed from that, we can connect on a human level, and I can learn from him. I can put together some conversations that help other people learn from him. But we can all reflect on the fact that it all ends here. So, I played NAIA. You played Division II.
Mhm.
And we're still on the same course. We're on a course to just love our families, contribute to the world, be positive. This is where it ends. And so sports is a beautiful, beautiful journey, and we should enjoy every second of the journey. But we want you to understand what the purpose of the journey is. It's so that family life and living out after sports is full of joy and retrospect. And Kawika had that. You could just see it. You could see, like, look at the face, where you pause it. There's a sense of pensiveness, like a sense of thought and reflection, that he understands that life is bigger than sport. And so how amazing would it be if we did sports with that in mind? Just understanding that you're gonna achieve the highest of the highs, Super Bowl champion. You're gonna achieve the lowest of the lows. Some of us are gonna get cut. Some of us are gonna get injured. Some of us are gonna not meet our goals. But what's the purpose of it all? It's to develop a mindset that helps you get better. And so I love this. There are lots of people that are doing this. I have another conversation coming out with a guy who put an entire business around this, JB. He put an entire business around helping people transition from sport to professional life. And we're going to bring his episode soon. But my talk with Kawika was great. Shout out to all my Lake House Silverhawks. Shout out to Kawika, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was much love. But yeah, that episode is live. The Rob Cruz episode is live. But it's good stuff.
Absolutely. Go check those out if you haven't already. Are you ready to transition to our final segment of the evening, my man?
Final segment of the evening. Okay, so this is our first time doing this. And like, here's my vision for this segment, right? So I know that we tend to love the subculture that we're in. Okay. So I love basketball. You love football. You know, someone else loves volleyball. Someone else loves soccer. Someone else loves music, right? So you find your passion, you love that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I have found so much success in life learning from other subcultures, right? And being able to identify and like connect myself to other subcultures. So this segment is called What to Love About. Okay. And we want to, every week when we come to you guys on Wednesdays, just tell you other things to love about other things, right? So I don't think I need to tell JB what to love about football, right? Or basketball. But maybe some of us do need to learn what to love about school. Now, I can hear you guys now. If you're an athlete and you're watching this, you probably just clicked off of it. So I hope that you stay, because here's my thought about school, JB. I think people want to say they don't love it. Okay? I've heard it said before. I've said it before. When I was in certain times of my life, I was like, I don't like school. Here's what I think now that I've been in schools for most of my professional life. I don't think human beings dislike school any more than a plant dislikes water or sunlight or good soil. I think it is in our nature to love to learn. I think being human, it is a natural instinct to enjoy progress and to enjoy feeling like I'm moving somewhere. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting smarter. I'm getting more capable, more competent, to use an AGB word, right? I think we love it. I think what is true is that we are so much more complicated and complex as beings than a plant. So we're able to talk ourselves out of loving things that we love. We can talk ourselves out of loving exercise. We can talk ourselves out of loving love. We can talk ourselves out of loving nutritious food. We can talk ourselves out of loving school because of the challenges that come, because of how difficult it is, because of how boring it is, whatever. But at the end of the day, when you learn something and you're moving forward, you love it. All right, so that's my setup. So we came up with 10 things that we think athletes should remember that we love about school. It's September. Everyone's in the first semester of school. What to love about it, JB, kick off.
Yeah, we'll kick off with number 10, but I just want to piggyback off that with 2 is like 100% athletes out there. I feel you on that. Use school as the vehicle for what it is. Let's dive into it. Use sports. Get the most out of it. We all do love to learn. Find what you care about. Number 10, Coach Rick. Here we go. Recognition and rewards. Right?
All right. So, okay. So do you remember awards night?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a mix, right? So we love it and we hate it, right?
Yeah,
because
it's usually on a Sunday night or the season's over and you got to get dressed up, go take some pictures.
Yeah. Who loves it? Let's be honest. The people who love it are the people who get recognized, right?
Hey, Mom.
We kicked off the show with the history of youth sports. And I know in the 80s and the 90s, the recognition was a lot less, right? It was like the top 2 or 3 people. And then as time has gone on, we've realized that it kind of hurts to have people not getting things. So you get these participation awards that kicked off for a while. And, you know, those aren't that great either because not everyone, you know, deserves something. So we have to find those balances. So I know administrators, I know that you guys don't always love this, but at the heart of it, it's one of the best parts of the year where we get a chance to just say, we see you, we recognize you, we know that you've put a lot of heart and soul and time and effort into representing our school. And so here's a certificate, here's an award, here's some of your name being said through a microphone. So we love number 10, recognition and awards.
Number 9, school rivalries, right? Waking up on game day when it's a rivalry, going through that hallway, the buzz in the school. There's something bigger about yourself on rivalry game days. Man, what a special thing to be a part of.
Nothing like it, man. And now I get a little bit like lame when I talk about this because when you run a club. So when I run a club, to me it was like, well, they're all the same athlete, right? So I'd be recruiting a kid from Lakes and I'd be recruiting a kid from Antioch, and I know they're rivals, but they're both AGB players as far as I'm concerned. So I'd go to these games. And parents would get mad at me because I didn't sit on their side, and I'm like, listen, I am not part of this Lakes Antioch rivalry. For me, I just love basketball. I love these two individuals that I'm here to support. But I get it at the high school level that pageantry is important. So once I go work for a high school now, I'm like, yeah, man, you represent black and orange, like you represent Hilltoppers. Let's go. So yeah, you gotta love those school rivalries. You ever had like a legit one, like one that did you ever like actually hate the other school?
Oh, and you said it, Lakes Antioch, and shout out Lakes Antioch right now this week. Lakes.
Oh, you froze there, JB. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys can hear him, but I can't. But yeah, Lakes Antioch is a big rivalry out there. Yeah, look, there's one in every neighborhood, in every town. So that's number 9. See if we can't get JB back in here. But in the meantime, let me see if I can switch over. Did we lose it all together? Somebody go to the chat. Let me know if you can see me or hear me. Gotta love the beauty of going live. Let's see. So JB is frozen. I'm having issues. You guys, bear with me a second. I'm gonna try to get these banners back up. All right, let's see if we go to number 8. Okay, we'll get JB back in here. I'm sure he's working on it now. He's the tech guy. He'll get back in here. But number 8, I love leadership roles. All right. If you are getting voted in as a captain, if you are getting voted in as the best player on the team, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, if you're a principal, I mean, we play such vital roles in the human experience to lead young people. And the school year is an opportunity for you to put your best on display. And let's not pretend, look, I won't pretend like that's all roses and all great. That can be really challenging. But at the end of the day, you have to love it. You just got to love the chance that you get to lead other people and that your talent or your skill set or your ability is high enough that other people are following you. All right, JB, you back?
So yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Wi-Fi dropped. Shout out Chicago. I don't know. We're gonna have to hit the Landmark building. What's going on? All right, you just went through leadership roles. I know I was talking about school rivalries right before I jumped out, but what I was saying is like, yes, Lakes Antioch shout out this week. Lakes can take care of business out there, and it's been a driver. And so let's dive in. I know you just went through leadership roles. Anyone who is in, I'll just shout out. Like to me. Sports 100% provided every opportunity for leadership post sports. And what I mean by that is like captains take those serious, like try to get into a captain role because that's your first like real world like manager or like just taking on extra responsibilities because it just helps you grow so much as a person. Like Coach Sawyer out in Winona State, one thing he did was every year, every class, there's 4 captains, right? And you were voted in every year by your class. And it wasn't necessarily you were on the field. It was like, who's being the best leader through the study tables, through, showing up to practices, weight trainings. And that it just, if you take those opportunities, it helps you so much post football out, on the railroad with any working situation that you'll ever be in.
You know what, JB? I'm going to say something on a human level really quick. When I look at my playing career, the thing I regret the most, I don't regret any missed shot. I don't regret any missed team. What I regret the most is missed opportunities to lead. Leadership is something that I've grown into as I've gotten older. When I was young, I was facing too many of the challenges that we talk about in our course. And those challenges like got in the way of me leading other people. So if you have a chance to lead, do it now so that you don't have, this sort of retrospect now where you realize that you're missing opportunities to make impact on other people. It's not easy, but dive into it, embrace it. All right, what's number 7?
Number 7. Growth opportunities, at least, right off of that one. Sports or within school, you're going to have lots of growth opportunities. So we'll talk about it, right? We all want to be on the field, but you're going to spend a lot of time in the classroom. So use that throughout the rest of your life. I'm telling you, you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do or necessarily enjoy the most. But if you apply yourself in those situations and you have to take this test, you have to go through this class, coming out of it, you got to put that time in. You're two type of people. You're either growing for it or decaying from it, and it's a choice every day, honestly. But school, we get the opportunity every single day. First bell, leaving the classroom, teachers having a hard day, saying what's up to your classmates, saying what's up, just being an energy bus everywhere you go. A lot of growth opportunities in those hallways.
It's the one-on-one times. That's why I'm excited about the AGB thing. I like getting down to being able to talk to people because when they're in the hallways, there's something about being a team that makes you tempted to mask how much you want to grow. You know what I mean? I'll admit, when I was coming up, sometimes I used to know the answer and still not raise my hand. I used to protect how intelligent I was. I've gotten in fights in my lifetime before because of being intelligent. So it taught me at a very young age sometimes to pretend to be dumb, right? And I think that even if you don't grow up in one of those neighborhoods, it's still tempting sometimes to fight off growth opportunities. I said that at the top of this whole segment, but I know most people, when you get them one-on-one and you remove those masks and you just say, do you want to grow? 99% of the people I've ever met in life say yes. And school is the perfect playground for those growth opportunities. And yes, in order to do it, sometimes you have to sit through a lecture or, learn a particular course or a subject that you're not passionate about. Mm-hmm. But there's growth in school, and I think that's good. Number 7. All right, what's number 6?
Number 6, student sections.
Hey, woo! That's you. Man. That's all you.
Talking about absolutely that. If you're not playing, that's an opportunity. Go support your teammates or your classmates and get in the student section. Great opportunity to be in an environment and energize your school, with a lot of pride. And on the flip side, playing in front of the student sections, man, so many vivid memories of walking out on Friday Night Lights or in a basketball gym, being able to hear and feel the crowd. Playing in front of a student section. There's very few things better than that.
I want you to find me the guy or the girl at every school in the country. Okay, go find me all 1 million of them. All right. And whoever is that person who runs that student section, that one who stands up and says, I believe that. Whoever that hype person is, I want you to go find me them so I can hire them later in life. Right. I love that kid. And if you're that kid, I want you to love being that kid. If you've got that kid inside of you, but you're just too shy to let them out because you think everyone's not going to like you, I want you to let them out because we love that kid. Mm-hmm. That young person has so much energy and enthusiasm, and they are the thermostat, or what's the one that sets the temperature? I always get that one confused. They're the thermostat, not the thermometer, right? And that's a good saying in life. Don't be the thermometer. The thermometer just reads the room. The thermostat sets the temperature in the room. And that person that does that is every bit as important. They need to be honored at the awards night. Let's start that, ADs and coaches. Let's find that person. Let's bring him into awards night and let's give him something because it is so crucial. It adds adrenaline. It adds support. It adds support. And so I love those student sections. You're right, JB. If I get a dunk, I mean, it's for the student section. That's why I did it. I want that student section to get hype.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, teammates become lifelong friends. Love this one. When you're in high school, you spend a lot of time with your classmates and your fellow athletes. When you get to college, you spend a different amount of a lot of time together. Those individuals that you go through those phases, I'm telling you right now, those are going to be your strongest bonds, right? These are the people that have been through it with you, right? They've gone through the tough times. They've celebrated the wins, the highs. And if school and sports teaches anything, right, it's a precursor for life. And I tell you, right, like I'm living with one of my best friends. Like it is just something that will be a part of you forever. So like take those relationships and spend time nurturing, growing those, because they're your lifelong friends. When you get, when you're out there getting married, you're having kids, you're doing major milestone events, those are going to be the ones that are there for you the most.
Yeah, you said it, bro. I mean, shout out to 107, shout out to Chris. Anyone that I played with, most of the people that I played with, I'm still close with. Some people, I like I said about the leadership part, I know some people I were teammates with that I owe an apology to. And so sometimes it doesn't, it's not great. But a lot of times your best friends are the ones that you've been through the trenches with. They know you at your best, they know you at your worst, and they love you anyway. And there's nothing like that. And you hear it all the time with professional retired players that when they say, what do you miss the most? It isn't the field, it isn't the court. It's the time in the locker room, the time on those buses. We used to shout out to Jay and Arrow. We used to play Monopoly on the way to games. Like we used to just be like in the back, just like we were so competitive. We just wanted to compete 24 hours a day. So we'd be on the way to a game to compete, and we'd be playing Monopoly in the back of the bus. So I miss those moments, and yeah, that's a good number 5. Where we at number 4?
Number 4, balance of academics and athletics. I love this. This is a great first approach to lean in during your years of school, high school, where you actually have some greater commitments than just, in middle school, it could be like a practice, after where kind of everyone's getting involved. But like high school, right, this is your first opportunity to use that balance of the two. And the balance isn't going away, right? Everything in life is a balance, and you have to choose your 24 hours in your day, right? What's getting that attention?
I hope I've gotten my last job. I want to retire at Judson, so I hope I've gotten my last job. But if I ever go back to another interview, it will still be on my resume what I've done as an athlete. I'm never going to take it off. And if you're an athlete, you should never take off anything that you've done athletically off your resume, because it's an automatic separator from you and the other people that you're competing with for jobs. You are saying already from the jump, I can do 2 things at once. You can count on me to be versatile. You can count on me to have work-life balance and still come here and contribute to this company. And it's something that employers look for. I don't know if they'll ever be honest with you, but they do. So shout out to all of you guys who are doing it. Now, can I take a moment to coach a little bit and talk to the ones that use the one to blame the other? We can't do it. You just can't do it. And it happens on every day. The athlete will blame, the academics that they have for the reason why they can't get extra shots up. And then you'll see them blame the athletic practices for why they can't get good grades. And if you're playing that blame game, you're missing opportunities. So embrace this moment. Everything that gets done to you is also something that gets done for you. And if you've made a team and you're a student athlete, you have done something for your future. Dive into it.
Number 3, the sports facilities, right? Something to get us in the building, right? Get excited about. Like when you are at school, you have access to the best facilities, right? I don't know what your home situation is, but I would be willing to bet that your school is going to have an awesome opportunity for you to get better at, right? Lean into those facilities. I know a lot of different schools have dedicated folks in those facilities. So whether it be strength training or whether it be full-time trainers, like take advantage of those facilities. I can tell you right now, being 28, run and train, and like I wish I had access to some of those facilities, right? I wish I had access to the trainers still. Like that is such a cool thing about being in school, those facilities.
Take care of them. Take care of them, man. If you that's like we talked about school rivalries, right? Like if you have pride in your school, then take care of your school's facilities. Like I used to tell people all the time when I was a dean, I used to say, you're not messing up someone else's house, you're messing up your own house. You know, take care of your place. I think that, again, another opportunity to learn and to grow. But you're absolutely right. Just the access to it. I go here. This is my school. Because I go here, I can get in here and get shots up, or I can get on that field, or I have access to that trainer. And so I know we have to look forward to certain things in school, and having access to some of the best facilities is that thing. You know, during the summer, you're on your own. You got to find your own place to work. School starts, you got a place to go.
Absolutely. Number 2, the joy of learning. We talked about this at the jump. We feel like we both are on the same page. That is in human DNA, that there is a natural joy of learning. And school is going to help you untap that. It might not be your coursework, right? It might not be, English class, social studies, whatever it might be. Like, you have to find what you care about in those. So whether it's a specific side story or something that's under the umbrella of what it is you're being taught, find what you care about, because I guarantee you there will be enjoyment if you learn something new that you care about.
That's right. That's right. And I'm going to try to keep it short, but I get a little long-winded on this because I think it's so huge, JB. I think, you know what's going on with technology. Like we all know what's going on with artificial intelligence. Like there is so much knowledge out there that we all have access to. So what you know is not necessarily a super compelling thing anymore. What is more compelling is what you're capable of learning. That's the differentiator now, is what's your capacity for learning and how much do you enjoy it? If you learn to love to learn, life is a lot of fun. And that is, I know we don't want to oversell, but that's such a big part of this mentality. That's literally what it's called. Like always get better, like always love learning, take on that instrument, take on that new skill, take on that new language, take on that new job, take on that new city, take on that new relationship, like love to learn. And then failures won't be disappointing. Disappointments won't be disappointing. So I think a joy of learning is something you learn at the school level. And that's number 2 on what to love about school.
All right. Rounding out. Number 1 on the list of what to love about school. Touch on it a little bit with the rivalries, but team spirit and school pride, right? We're talking about the lifelong friends. Where you go, take pride in that, right? There is such an enjoyment that will come through the process of like wearing your team's colors, right? Going out representing your community members. It is a pure enjoyment that's only school can unlock, right? Leaning into that community of all the faculty, like everything that goes into running that school. Well, in that one, that game day, that tip off, you have the opportunity to represent that name, that community, everything that it's about. And it's one of the coolest things that us athletes get to do, and school ultimately provides it.
And I got a tip. I have a tip for anyone involved in schools. If you're a faculty member, if you're a coach, if you're an athlete, teacher, principal, everyone, I want you to hear me out. Play your part in this engagement piece, and it will pay you back. If you are an athlete, go to the concert. If you are an artist, go to the game. If you are a principal, be where your people are engaging. If you're a teacher and you're having a hard time connecting with a student athlete, meet that student athlete on the field. If you are a student athlete and you're having a hard time connecting with the science teacher, go to the science fair. Because passion is a galvanizer. And I've seen it work. The schools that do that, the schools that support each other, they win. Because we talked about a student section and how hype a student section can get. Well, if you were there at my concert last week You're the best athlete on the stage. I talked about Kawika Mitchell. I went to high school with Kawika. Kawika was the best football player on the team, bar none. And Kawika was at everything. And he got voted homecoming king like that. Because everybody knew that he was down for all of us, you know. And he has a really cool, compelling story. He talks about in a freshman, he wasn't like that, but he grew. So I just encourage everyone, dive into your team spirit, your school pride, but that does not just mean, you know, come support my thing. No, go support everyone else's thing. That's how a school becomes really, really tough to beat. So yeah, that's a good segue into just going back to what we're excited about, man. We're heading to schools. We're making offers to schools. We want to be in front of your athletes, and we want to talk to you guys about what this AGB mentality is and how we can spread this love and positivity across the country and help more people come together instead of dividing apart. All while helping the athletes navigate youth sports in a way that gets them ready for life. I'm just so pumped about that.
Absolutely. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. This is going to be our regular cadence now. Wednesdays will be coming at you live. And then Sunday, September 24th. If you have any questions, please reach out. I know I have a couple of parents I've been going back and forth with, but we would love to have you, your student athletes, whoever you'd like in that seat. It's going to be a fun experiment. We want your feedback, want you ripping it apart. Come learn. And remember, what do we do here at AGB, Rick?
Always. Always get better, man. We will see you guys next week. I appreciate you coming on. We'll be back next Wednesday and Sunday, the 24th. Join the classes. Let's get going.
We'll see you next Wednesday, coming at you live from Minnesota. Let's go.